That's enough candy for today, baby. We've reached our 3-piece maximum. Would you like some fruit instead, or are you all done snacking?
I'm all done snacking. Thank you so much for monitoring my diet, Mom. I am so lucky to have you.
Is that what you're expecting? Before I answer this question, I genuinely want to know what y'all be expecting. But since you asked, I'm gonna answer. This answer is coming in 3 parts. I'm saving the best for last, so watch till the end. Number 1, expect a meltdown. When our children with underdeveloped brains don't get their way, they are going to melt down. But the issue is the meltdowns are triggering for you. So you may want to work through that with your therapist, a parent coach, or God to figure that out. Number 2, use your child's meltdown as an opportunity to model emotional intelligence and empathy. We all say we want our children to be emotionally intelligent and empathetic, but we don't model that for them at all when they're displaying their big emotions. So let me ask you, where do y'all think they're gonna learn it from? Number 3, once your child has reset and co-regulated with you, you can give them a replacement behavior. For example, for an older child, you might say, I noticed you were really angry earlier and started screaming. The next time you feel like that, we can grab a pillow for you to scream into, or you can scream into mommy's tummy. What do you think about that? For a 3-year-old, the best time to teach this is during playtime. You can use a story, dolls, puppets, action figures. Oh my goodness, Sally's getting really angry. What's she gonna do? Does she need to scream into your tummy? Ah! Do you feel better? Something like that. Comment below if this helped you. Happy problem solving. Stay empowered.
Sometimes when I see parents giving out a whole lot of punishments, they don't have a whole lot of boundaries. Now they got a million rules. My kid's not allowed to do this. My kid better not be doing that. But those are not boundaries. Boundaries tell them what you're gonna do or what you're not willing to do, but they don't require your kids to do anything. See, we forget that one of the biggest contributing factors to behavior is environment. So I want you to ask yourself, does the environment that I'm creating support the behaviors that I'm trying to teach them? The routines, the things they have access to, your energy, your level of presence, supervision, support. Those are all things that you can control to set your child up for success. Are you doing those things to set your child up to succeed? Or are you relying on reactive punishment to do the job that proactive boundaries and support should be doing? I'm Destiny Ann. Follow me for more gentle, not permissive parenting videos.
Can you use your inside voice?
No!
We don't need to go. Hey.
I'm so glad you made this video because you are not alone in misunderstanding or having been misled about what gentle parenting actually is. It's not your fault. There's a lot of bad information out there. There's also a lot of incomplete information. People love to talk about the first half of this, the easy part of this, staying calm and validating their feelings, but they leave out the second half, which I would argue is actually the more important half, and that is the high expectations, the confident leadership, the firm boundaries. That's a much more nuanced conversation. That's not a 1-minute TikTok. You've given us a great visual here of how misunderstanding gentle parenting, or only sort of doing that first half, puts you square into permissive parenting territory. Permitting chairs being thrown at you, right? Permitting being hit and scratched and pinched repeatedly. Permissive parenting is a really uncomfortable situation for everyone involved. I don't have to tell you that, you were there. Parents are unsure of themselves. They don't really know how to react to things as they come. Kids are flailing without a boundary in sight, and society is affected when these kids turn 18. Think Brock Turner, coddled and excused and bailed out at every turn, never once experiencing a consequence to an action, and then unleashed on society mid-adolescence. The most dangerous animal in the world is a man who is permissively parented. Enough theory, let's get into how to fix this for you. I don't know what led up to this, so I'm just gonna make up a scenario. Maybe she was playing outside and she got hot and tired and thirsty, and she wanted to let herself into the house and realized she cannot do that on her own. The door is locked, right? That's so frustrating. So all of these things, the hot, the tired, the thirsty, the frustrated, she barely has frontal lobes. It has all spiraled into this tantrum. You don't like how she's expressing this frustration, so you latch on to what you can control, which is whether or not the door gets opened, right? And you want her to ask nicely before you give her what she wants. I get it, I've been there. Gentle parenting, RIE, authoritative, it's all basically the same thing. The big difference between this and what I call default parenting is that it's a mindset shift. We need to shift over to the knowledge and the belief that tantrums are not bad behavior, that this is an age-appropriate expression of frustration, and feelings do not need to be fixed. She can feel frustrated, she can express that frustration in an age-appropriate way, and we guide her a little at a time, over time, into expressing it differently. I'm gonna show you what that looks like. We're gonna get up off our butt, we're gonna go right over to her and look her in the eyes. Whoa, are you tired and thirsty? Oh, and the door is locked. That is so frustrating. Let's get inside and cool off. And as I am unlocking the door, I'm not requiring her to do this right now. I'm telling her what she can do next time. As I'm doing it, I say, next time you can say, I'm hot and the door is locked, right? I'm giving her language for next time. I'm giving her a script for next time. And I'm staying on her side. I'm using let's, I'm using we. Let's go inside, let's cool off. And I'm matching her energy. Oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. That's how we keep connection. It's you and me against the heat, right? It's not you and me against each other. That's it. You go inside, you cool off, and you stay connected, and you keep working on this a little at a time. Now, what if we really couldn't go inside until she was quiet? Maybe her baby sibling was sleeping inside. In that case, you set a perfect boundary here, and you stayed calm and you let her feel her feelings outside without waking up the baby. I'm gonna put that scenario in my little diagram here. Here's your kid losing their mind at the door, and here is your very reasonable boundary. Around here, we ask ourselves 4 questions before we decide on a boundary. What is my boundary? Why? Is it reasonable? Can I follow through on it? That boundary passes with flying colors. Just keeping the door locked because you don't like how she's expressing herself does not. It really doesn't pass number 2 and 3. Like, why am I holding this boundary, and is it reasonable? Now, if you're new to the diagram, everything between your kid and your boundary is all the freedom that we can allow in this situation. Freedom is our best bet at kids staying inside of our boundaries on their own. So in here, we ask ourselves, what can she do? She can scream, she can cry, she can keep playing if she wants to, she can go cool off in the shade. What she can't do is go inside while she's being loud. Here's what that looks like on your end. Whoa, are you really hot and thirsty? Oh, and the door is locked. That's so frustrating. Okay, we have to be really quiet for, and I always use the baby's name. I never say the baby, because he's sleeping. As soon as you can be quiet, we can go inside and cool off. Now, if that has calmed her down a little bit, if she's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, you can give her some methods. I like to take a deep breath to calm myself down. If she's still screaming in your face, she can't learn right now, okay? Don't even worry about like giving methods right now. And now we shut up. We are not going to keep explaining over and over. When you're ready to be nice, we can go inside. When you say it nicely, we can go inside. She heard us the first time. She is now in control of whether she can go inside or not. She knows the deal and she can make the choice.
The Super Cute Mom posted a one-liner parenting line that she uses all the time. That's her go-to. We use it all the time. We've been using it for about a decade. It's, you can be mad, but you can't be mean. And then she asked parents to share what their go-to one-liners are for gentle parenting, respectful parenting, kind parenting. And I wanted to share some of mine with you, because when we say things over and over and over again, it can feel like, oh my gosh, why do I have to keep repeating myself? So we have some one-liners that are just make things so much easier. And more importantly, they work because our kids know what they mean. If we haven't met, my name is Nicole. I'm the founder of Coffee and Carpool, Raising Kind Kids, and the Kind Kids movement, where we help parents and educators intentionally raise kind kids, but we do it in a way that is kind. One of our other go-to lines is, every family has different rules. Well, how come she can? Well, how come they can't? Every family has different rules. Just my constant go-to liner in our family, this is our rule. Every family has different rules. We've been saying those for about a decade, and they work for toddlers, school age, teenagers. Here's another one we just started using a lot because we have teenagers. We don't comment on other people's bodies. So, blah, 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 blah. Nope, we don't comment on other people's bodies, period. My kids ask things over and over and over again after I've already given them the answer, right? How many people's kids do that? We use asked and answered. So I explained it to them the first time. You've already asked. I have already answered. I'm sorry if you don't like the answer, but that's the answer. So if they keep asking, then I just say, asked and answered. You've asked, I've answered. Asked and answered. As many times as they ask, asked and answered. I'm not going to keep saying no over and over again. Asked and answered. It's done. My husband's favorite one, and we've started using it all the time, don't yuck someone else's yum, right? Let them do them. Let them do, like, you do you, let them do them. Don't yuck someone else's yum. How do you know that that is disgusting? You've never tried it? How do you know that sport that they're doing is too, no, don't yuck someone else's yum. Let them do their thing. We don't force kindness around here. We don't force friendships around here. So we say, you don't have to be friends with everyone, but you have to be friendly. You still have to be kind. You don't have to be friends with everyone. You have to be friendly. You can say hi. You can say thank you. You don't ignore. We use that one all the time. Because we're teaching really clear boundaries, we say often, stop means stop, no means no. So if I hear one of my kids say no, even if they're laughing, I'm like, oh, I heard no. No means no. Stop means stop. Clear boundary. If I see my kids making a questionable choice, especially when they were little and they were being adventurous and climbing on something, I say, is that a good choice for your body? Or I'll say, make good choices for your body. Please make good choices for your body. If they're not making good choices, I will say, make better choices right now, or I'm going to help you make better choices. Make a better choice. And now as I'm sending my teenagers off to be off by themselves, I just say to them, make good choices. Make good choices. One we've been using a lot is I'm sorry is just words. A real apology is a change in behavior. Don't keep doing it and keep saying I'm sorry. That doesn't cut it. A real apology is a change in behavior. We also don't do sarcasm around here because that can get really mean really quickly. It can be misinterpreted. A lot of people don't understand sarcasm. It's just something that we don't use. It's one of the things we banned a long time ago. So it's say what you mean and mean what you say. You didn't really mean that. You didn't mean what you just said, so say what you mean. You didn't really like it. Okay, so say what you mean what you say. When kids are coming at us with attitude or nasty or rude or that snark back or the clap back, that mean little snark, we say try again. Deadpan, try again. Oh, nope, still, try again. I've had to say it up to 10 times for my teens when they're extra salty. Try again. You don't get to talk to me that way. I don't talk to you this way. You may not talk to me this way. Try again. And we keep going until they are able to say it with a little sliver of respectability or kindness. I'm like, okay, thank you. When kids are trying to be funny, or they're just kidding, or can't you take a joke? We come back with, who is it funny for? Who is it funny for? Is it funny for the person that you're making fun of or that you're teasing? Who is it funny for? When our kids were little, we taught them the difference between tattling and telling. So telling is if somebody's hurt or about to get hurt, and tattling is trying to get somebody into trouble. So we would then when they would come to us with something, are you tattling or are you telling? Because they knew the difference because we had spent the time to teach them and practice what the difference was. Are you tattling or are you telling? Right? Telling is going to help someone. Tattling is getting somebody in trouble on purpose. And then when they're having their big emotions, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be not okay. It's okay to be nervous. You can be brave and be scared and do it anyways. So it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be whatever it is that you are. You're allowed to be those things. We talk about being brave as being scared, but doing it anyways, doing it scared. We talk about it all the time. And then when they come to us with their problems, do you want help? Do you want advice? Or do you just want me to listen? Right? Asking them what they want from you to set really clear boundaries. Do you want my opinion, my advice, my help? Or do you just want me to listen? I can do either one. Or do you want a hug? We could do that too. Right? Giving them that choice. Choices are huge. So those are some of my parenting one-liners. What are yours?
How do you know how to regulate your child? Most kids fall into one of 4 categories. A huge piece of what we're trying to do is figure out for this particular human, this one I have right here in front of me, what is the thing that is going to be the most nurturing and helpful to bring the emotions down so that you can talk and connect and do all of the good teaching that you want to do as a parent. So we're going to think about these 4 different categories, okay? We've got regulation, sensory, relevance, and executive. If I'm a grown-up and I'm in major dysregulation in the limbic part of my brain and I need regulation support, that's probably because I haven't drank enough water, okay, today, or maybe it's because I haven't gotten enough sleep and I need to take a nap. This is a bed, guys. It's probably that I need some help reading my body cues so that I can respond to them in a more timely manner. Regulation supports help children and adults know that they are hungry, tired, need to go to the bathroom, need to have a drink of water, and that is going to be the thing that helps them to get back to a place of deep regulation. Sensory supports are a little different. So if I'm an adult and I'm having a real limbic system kind of moment and I need sensory supports, I might need to put socks on if I'm walking inside, so that I don't have to feel all the crumbs that my kids dropped on the floor. If I need sensory support, I might need to go to hot yoga so that I can stretch my body. If I need sensory support, I might need to turn off all the sound because it's too loud for me, or put some headphones on. Okay, this is all about processing information from the outside world into the body. And so if your child is having a moment where they need sensory support, I want to think about reducing information that's going into you and giving you some supports to help manage that information. That could be movement, it could be something like socks or a cozy sweater, it could be headphones or reducing sound or light or number of objects. Now if I am having an adult having a limbic system moment and I need relevant support, I probably need to call a friend because I need to know somebody understands, right? So if my kids are just fighting to the death and I'm like, oh my freaking God, maybe I need to text my bestie and she's gonna text me back. I'm gonna say, oh my God, can you believe what they did? And she's gonna say something like, oh my God, I totally get it. Mine are underneath the table doing XYZ right now, okay? And then I'm like, oh, I feel felt. She understands my perspective. I can carry on. If I'm a child who needs relevant support, I probably need to know, like maybe I've done something bad and I'm getting in trouble for it. I probably need to know that my parent understands why I did that thing. And always remember, if your kid needs relevant support, their perspective is not usually your perspective. And then the last kind of support I want to think about is executive. This is not to be confused with executive functioning. It's about meaning making and kind of sequential thinking, right? So that I know what is coming next and I can kind of relax into that knowing. So this kind of adult who's having a limbic system moment and needs a little help is maybe going to make themselves a checklist box. Or they're going to say, okay, I need these 3 things done and I already did that one. They're going to include this for a measure of comfort and then they can go do these 2. If you have a child who needs executive support, I might give them a visual picture. I might say, first shoes, then park. Or first this wrapper to the trash, then we get a snack. When you're thinking about how to regulate your child, my first question to you is, what kind of support does your kid need? And when you can answer that, what kind of support do they need? Then we can have a conversation about what it looks like for your particular child. Now, of course, there's going to be times when your kid needs all of these different kinds of supports, but most kids fall into 1 or 2 categories most of the time. If you need more help figuring out where your kid falls and how to get them to regulate with you, DM or comment the word regulation 1 and I'll have my team reach out and send you my recent masterclass on this stuff.
All right, I got a word for all the parents out there, and I need to hear this too. But you got to remember something. In your house, when your kids are disrespectful and they're not listening to you and they're doing the opposite of everything you want them to do and they're being mean to each other and mean to you, you are living in the lab. That is the lab. This is where kids figure out how to be humans. They figure out how to be themselves. Do not lose sight of that. It is so important to remember that, because when they go out in the world and you're like, wow, what a sweet kid, and the teachers speak so well of them, or they have good friends and people want to be with them, that's real life. The house is not real life. That's the workshop. Remember that. And be encouraged to that, because it's going to be hard. It's supposed to be hard. But that's our job, to help guide and shape. You're doing a good job. Keep doing it.
I want you to start doing this one thing if you feel like your toddler or your little kid is always whining or demanding things from you. It is not using the phrase, use your words please, or talk like a 4-year-old please. We're going to do something different that's actually going to work so much better. I'm Cassie. I'm a mom of 3 who are 5 and under, and I'm a toddler parenting expert who actually helps you enjoy the toddler and little years. So follow if you haven't already. let me share what this shift is. So here's what I want you to think about. When we use the phrase like, use your words, please, or speak like a 4-year-old, please, or stop using your whining voice, use your grown-up voice, please, what we're trying to get our kids to do, what we're actually trying to get them to do, is teaching them to take a breath, to calm down, and to speak in a way that we can understand and that we can help them, right? But here's the thing, when your toddler is whining, when they're demanding, their brain is in fight or flight. They're not thinking logically. So instead of telling them, use your calm voice or use your big girl voice, what we actually need to do is teach them how to calm down so that they can access their communication and their words. So here's what I started doing, especially with my second. I learned this with my second a lot better than I did with my oldest, but it is like freaking magic, you guys, is when he runs over and he's whining like, Mom, I need chocolate milk. And he's like crying hysterical already, right? Like runs over hysterical. I don't say anything. I just myself put my hand on my chest and I go, and I model a huge deep breath. I will tell you, it took about a week of me doing this every single time he was whining or demanding something. Before I answered, I modeled that calming, emotional regulation deep breath myself. After about a week, he started doing it with me. So he would run over, he would whine and cry, and then himself, on his own, he would take a deep breath. And then I would repeat back to him whatever he had asked for in a calm voice. Mom, could you help me get some chocolate milk, please? And then he would start to use that language. And now he is 2.5. He's not even 3 yet. Most of the time, 8 or 9 out of 10 times, he will come over, and even if he starts to whine or demand something, he catches himself, right? He takes a deep breath because he's practiced that regulation, and then he'll ask for it in a calm voice. So try this. It's going to be magical. Come back and let me know.
Sometimes parents are unknowingly sabotaging their children. Let's talk about it. But first, if you're new to my page, hi, my name is April. I've been a kindergarten teacher for the past 15 years, but I'm moving my skill set online so that I can help more parents help their kids at home. Let's go. I'm going to tell you a quick teacher story.
I'm going to break down exactly what's happening in this video and show you what the parent could have done better and what the teacher could have done better, because we're all here trying our best.
I love bringing treats to my class. So one morning I got up extra early so I could go to the donut shop. 20 glazed donuts. So I'm passing out the donuts to the kiddos. They're all super excited, of course. I have one little boy and his mom who come in late. He sits down, and I put a donut on a napkin on his desk in front of him. He took one look at that donut and crossed his arms and said, I hate glazed donuts. I only like chocolate frosted with sprinkles.
There's already a lot of important information in this video. First, the parent and the child come in late. So if we put on our positive intent glasses, we can probably recognize that the parent and child probably had a rough morning, that something in the morning was not going their way. So they're showing up into the classroom already in an emotional state where their emotional state skills are. The blaming, the name calling, the verbal aggression, the me versus you mentality is all here in an emotional state. And what triggers us to go into an emotional state, not just the children, but us adults as well, is when the world does not go our way. My guess is that the refusal of the donut had less to do with the flavor of the donut and more to do with how his day was going and the state he happened to be in that moment when she put the donut on his desk. And this moment is not going as the teacher was hoping that it would go to. And so the teacher is getting triggered to an emotional state where she's going to see the world as me versus you, where she's going to try to win over this kid. Now let's see how she does it.
So I got down eye level to him, and I said, Friend, Miss April had to get up extra early this morning so that she could go get donuts for you guys, and I spent my money to buy you this treat. That was nice of me to do that for you guys, and your reaction does not make me feel good. So calmly, I picked up the donut on the napkin and I walked it back to the donut box. Children do not get to act like that and then still be rewarded.
Now, what triggered this teacher to go into a me versus you emotional state and get into a power struggle over a glazed donut? Now, a lot of people would say it was just child's reaction that triggered the teacher into an emotional state, but it was actually this teacher's own trigger story, their own trigger thought that triggered the teacher into an emotional state. And it sounded like this. She said it for us.
Children do not get to act like that and then still be rewarded.
Now here's where I'm a little confused. I don't know if the treats were a reward for the class or she was bringing the treats out of the kindness of her heart because she loves bringing treats. If she's bringing the treats out of the kindness of her heart, then why are there so many strings attached to her gift? And if she's bringing the donuts as a reward, giving or taking away a glazed donut is not going to teach this child how to manage their emotions. It's not going to teach them how to deal with disappointment. It's not going to teach them how to refuse a gift in a more pro-social way. And it's definitely not going to teach them to solve problems without overpowering the other person. We have to model that if you want to teach it.
Remember, the mom is still in the classroom. She walks over to the donut box and gets the donut out of the box and brings it back to him and sets it in front of him. And she goes, "Oh, he's sorry, Miss April. Aren't you, honey? Tell Miss April you're sorry."
Let's talk a little bit more about the parent here. Based off the information in the video that the teacher gave us, I imagine that the parent is feeling judged in an emotional state. She's doing a lot more of excusing and saving from behavior and emotions rather than addressing behavior and emotions. And it looks like her survival state is showing where she's using her survival state skill of fawn, which is pretty much people pleasing. She's trying to please her child. She's trying to please the teacher, as opposed to thinking about what would be most helpful for both of them to navigate the behavior, to navigate the conflict, to navigate the emotions. And it's likely she doesn't even have those skills because she grew up just having things taken away from her like most of us. And yeah, of course he's not going to apologize. Empathy is an executive state skill that's not fully developed till 25, 26, and this child's in the emotional state. They don't have access to the skills here when they're down here.
Which, of course, he didn't. Then she looks at me. "He didn't sleep very well last night. I'm sorry. He's really grumpy." This moment would have been a really good learning opportunity for him.
You're right. This could have been a great learning opportunity for him.
And for the mom to see, okay, Miss April handled this very calmly, but she set a boundary and a natural consequence that made sense.
I didn't hear a boundary. I heard a punishment. And a natural consequence is a consequence that happens without our intervention. It happens naturally. Now, if he smashed the donut in a fit of rage and then had to eat the smashed donut, that would be a natural consequence. If he swiped it off his desk and it got dirty, that would be a natural consequence. You taking it away from him is not a natural consequence.
He screamed at me that he didn't like that donut. Well, he doesn't get to get the donut. But what she told him through her actions is that it's okay to act like that. You're still going to get rewarded. There is no consequence. Don't reward your child's bad behavior.
Now, I'm going to tell you what to do instead. And that's your first lesson. You're probably watching this video hoping that this part would come where I would tell you what to do instead of just what not to do. Nowhere in that story did the parent or the teacher help the child on what to do instead. And clearly, if you're still watching this video, that's what we all need. Now, as a teacher in this situation, we could have responded in a few helpful ways, depending on the child, depending on the moment, depending on what we want to teach a child in this moment. Here's one way. If you don't want the donut, say, "No, thank you." Here's another way. You can choose to keep the donut on the desk, or you can throw it in the trash. It's up to you. Or if I had a little time on my hands, I might say something like, "Something happened?" Now, what could the parent have done differently? Because the parent is in a little bit of a tricky situation because she's in the classroom, which is the teacher's domain, where the teacher arbitrarily makes up the rules there. The most helpful thing that the parent can do here is focus on what's in their control and co-regulate with the child. Maybe starting off with "something happened," and help the child calm down and express what they're trying to say in a better way, rather than us just putting words in their mouth or trying to force a fake apology. And for this 5-year-old to have a shot at expressing themselves in a pro-social way, the adults need to be regulated up here in their brain so that they can guide and teach the child how to do that. Unfortunately, most adults learn the skills that are down here, their survival state skills and the emotional state skills, and that's what you hear being played out in this story. And absolutely no shame towards the parent or the teacher because we're all trying our best. And it's hard for us to rewire our brain to use more executive state skills as opposed to emotional survival state skills. But when you know better, you have the opportunity to do better. And I hope this video helped you on that journey to just do a little bit better today.
It's right here. Stop it. No, ma'am. Understand that you don't understand your emotions, but you cannot spit on me. Do you understand? So
I'm gonna break down what's happening in this video and show you how we can be more helpful next time.
I'm gonna go to the timeout corner before I put milk in this cereal because you asked for the cereal and then you got mad for some reason and you don't even know why.
So this video starts off with the parent in an emotional state. And what triggers us to move down to an emotional state is the world not going our way. And the signal that we might be in an emotional state is we see the world as me versus you. And we see the child is giving us a hard time as opposed to having a hard time. And you can see that in this video because this child is so overwhelmed in her emotions that her body has a reaction and she sneezes. But the mom interprets that as this child intentionally chose to spit on me to give me a hard time. And when we're in the lower centers of our brain, we're not in a place to help a child learn and grow. And my guess is that this parent has some negative self-talk coming up that stems from her own childhood, keeping her down in the lower centers of her brain. And it probably sounds something like this. You can't let her get away with that disrespect. She deserves to be punished. Do you know what would have happened to me if I would have done that to my parents? And it seems like this started because the adult made a choice to give this young child a choice about her cereal. And either the young child regretted the decision she made about the cereal, or she didn't fully understand the choice she was making. And she was feeling some disappointment or frustration or upset about the outcome of her decision. And there's this thing that exists called emotional contagion, which is our tendency to catch each other's emotions. So when this young child started to feel upset and expressing that, the parent got triggered down to an emotional state and was also expressing her frustration and upset too. Ideally, we want to be able to recognize when we get triggered because it's not a question of if we'll get triggered, it's a question of when we'll get triggered. And then use our skills to move ourselves up to an executive state so that we can use our best skills to teach children how to do the same. When children have an emotion and we just react and silence and punish them for simply having an emotion, then they're going to learn to do the same. Sometimes to other people, sometimes to themselves. Let's see how she reacts from her emotional state as she thinks her child is just trying to give her a hard time.
So, but you spitting at me is not okay. You stay in the timeout corner. Come on.
Okay, so some time has passed, and you can tell that the parent is a little bit more regulated than she was in the previous clips. Her tone is more warm, her body language is more connected, where she's using both hands to hold the child, as opposed to using one hand to point and to say all the things that she was doing wrong. And she's more likely to interpret her child's behavior as something that's cooperative, as opposed to her just giving her a hard time, even though that this child is really still shut down from the previous interaction and not doing a lot of communication here. And because the parent is in a higher state of the brain, she has hope of bringing her child up to an executive state too. Watch closely, notice the things I just mentioned.
No. So what did you do wrong? You spit on me. Good job. What do you say? No, you say you're sorry. It's okay. Till you learn that you can't do that again, we're going to go today without Mickey Mouse, okay? At least this morning. We'll watch Mickey Mouse later today, but right now you can't have Mickey Mouse.
If we want to impose consequence to be helpful, the child needs to feel safe and connected. It needs to be related, reasonable, and respectful. And the child needs to already have the skill that you want them to learn, and that will only motivate them to use the skill that they already have, not teach them a new skill that they don't have yet. Now, because a child feels safe and connected and loved, she's more likely to accept the consequences. And although she imposes consequence in a respectful way, she's still using an empathetic tone and a reasonable way. She didn't say no Mickey Mouse forever or no Mickey. She just said no Mickey Mouse for the morning. It wasn't related to what she actually wants the child to learn, so it's unlikely to be helpful for teaching her what to do better next time. Now, personally, if I were to impose a consequence on this young child, it would be just to practice that challenging moment that started all of this. It'd be practicing making a choice of the cereal, practicing choosing if we want milk or not, practicing that whole routine from beginning to end so that she could get better at it next time. And I wouldn't do it in a way where I'm shaming her and pointing my finger at her and trying to make her feel bad for not having the skills last time. It'd be in a way that's empathetic and connected, because I want her to be in an executive state when I'm doing this teaching so that she can use these skills later and really receive that information. If she's down here in the brain, she's not going to be able to receive the information, and I'm going to be wasting my time and wasting her time and really just breaking our relationship.
I love you. Can I have a kiss? No? Okay, I respect that. Can I have a hug? Give me a hug.
Now, some people who are further along in their journey might be tempted to shame or verbally attack this parent because she didn't navigate the situation perfectly. But recognize that that is a part of your own mental model that stems from when you grew up. And it comes from how you've seen or experienced people respond or react to your own mistakes or other people's mistakes. And that's a generational cycle that you're still working on breaking. And for you, that can be a point of empathy for this parent, because it's likely that she didn't have a lot of adults who are modeling these conscious discipline skills that I talk about. And she's just trying to figure it out, and she's doing the very best that she can with the skills, knowledge, and resources she has access to in that moment. And personally, I wouldn't recommend timeout. I would recommend that she self-regulates, that she recognizes that she's triggered. She pauses. She takes a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, with her belly expanding so she can actually get the benefits of breathing. I would recommend that she feels what she's feeling in that moment, those sensations in her body. And then I would recommend that she chooses to see the situation differently and she needs some mantras. Then I could give her some of those. And then choose a win-win solution where everyone's meeting their needs. The adult whose needs are likely to just maybe move on and transition, or for everyone to feel safe, or for just the child just to have cereal, and the child's needs to have autonomy or to feel her feelings or to be seen in the moment where she made a choice and she regrets and she just wants to be seen and heard and understood and have a little bit empathy for her in the challenging moment for this young child. That's what I would recommend. But I also accept that she might not be there in her journey yet. And I also understand that those are skills that have to be practiced. And so I have so much empathy for this parent, and I know she's doing her best. And this parent is using the skills that she has in her tool belt, just like the child is. So when the parent said,
and then you got mad for some reason, you don't even know why.
She could have been saying that to herself. Because even though she thinks it's about her child having an emotion, it's really about the messages that she received growing up about emotions. Even though she thinks it's about her child spitting on her, it's really about how she interpreted that action from the child and probably saw it as disrespect that really triggered her down to her own emotional state. And it's not our role to break every generational cycle in one go. Our role is to take as many steps as we can in our own growth and then pass the baton to the next generation and let our finish line become their starting line. And I believe that she's doing that here.
I understand. You cannot do that. I know you're mad though, so I won't make you kiss me. I love you. Okay, I heard you whisper.
So remember, avoid being a perfectionist, be an improvementist. The goal isn't to be perfect every day. The goal is to improve a little every day.
Hi, Amanda here. I wanted to pop in and add to what Angelica was saying in her last video. She was talking about how if we never let someone be uncomfortable, like if we constantly accommodate our kid or partner, this will make their anxiety worse. I wanted to add that always acting satisfied and never being annoyed or bothered is obviously avoiding intimacy, but it also makes the other person's nervous system signal danger. Tiptoeing or avoiding negative emotion reinforces that in order to be accepted, everything has to be smooth. the very thing underpinning the golden child's anxiety. And you might be tempted to just give them tons of appreciation and to walk around on eggshells to make sure they never feel inadequate and to always give them the impression that they're the hero. However, healing actually happens the opposite way. Of course, a loving parent will still attune to and enjoy the child in their everyday life, so they have that identity of, I'm okay, being mirrored back to them. But healthy identity develops depending also on having plenty of moments where you say, I'm not pleased with your behavior, and you're okay, simultaneously. Some behaviors are just not polite or healthy, or protocol. Sometimes these behaviors hurt or upset or harm people, and that's okay if you don't get it right every time. Of course, these kids need plenty of benefit of the doubt, validation, but sometimes it's appropriate to follow that support up with, it's not polite to scream in the ice cream shop. People are trying to enjoy their treat. Or, I know you're feeling overwhelmed, but I don't deserve to be hit. Don't pretend their behaviors don't affect other people just because they were sensitive to perceived criticism. Taking acceptance for granted during calm redirection is a tragically missing developmental experience for children of highly anxious, emotion-averse parents. And these kids grow up to not know if they're acceptable when they're not perfect. So if your partner is a grown-up golden child, don't act like the eggs he made for you aren't rubbery. Smile and tell him you appreciate his making you breakfast, but next time don't cook them for so long, please. Then change the subject casually so he knows very certainly that this is not defining criticism or rejection. He is still okay. You're still with him. He's fine. He's gone his whole life afraid of this scenario, believing that he's not loved if someone doesn't like exactly what he's doing. So he might get angry. I'm not saying it's right, but it's a predictable response to a nervous system feeling endangered. And if you're a parentified child, you'll want to fix and caretake your anger. Don't. Let him be angry. You can be angry all you want, but I do like my eggs less cooked. Leaving space for emotion without managing it is very hard, but this is actually healing for both partners. So if you're with a grown-up golden child, no more accommodating, being overly positive, or tiptoeing around the grown-up golden child. This person needs the opposite while simultaneously knowing you're still accepting them.
So transitions, so moving from one activity to another, is extremely difficult for toddlers, and you always need to verbally warn them as well as try and use natural endings to activities. So for example, if your little one is watching TV and they're watching a nursery rhyme, what you would do is you would tell them one more song or one more nursery rhyme, and when that nursery rhyme finishes, that is when you turn the TV off and move on to the next activity. You don't turn it off mid-song or mid-nursery rhyme because that is going to result in a tantrum. Now, if you are out at the park, the way you would do that is you would say, okay, 5 more pushes on the swing, and then we are going home. And you would count that out and then hop off. And that will help them with that transition and reduce the likelihood of a tantrum occurring.
3 other things you could do if you can afford it, and these are not things that you must do. There is not a high level of evidence to support either of the 3, but it's just another thing that you can add if you're trying to throw anything that you can at them to help lower the cavity risk. One is a dental probiotic. I really like Super Teeth. They have high quality, they're a good company, they have lots of checks in place to make sure they're creating a potent product and a safe product. The least expensive thing that you can add is xylitol gum or xylitol mints, depending on your child's age, if they're able to safely chew gum. But the xylitol gum is especially best if they're able to do it because it helps to clean off their teeth after they get food debris stuck in it. So it's really nice after a snack, at home, or after a meal if you're not going to brush their teeth. And then lastly, something that I actually put in my kids' lunch boxes and that we use as an after toothbrushing treat is something called Basic Bites. These chews contain vital nutrients for promoting dental health. There's calcium, there's arginine, and there's bicarbonate. So they help to neutralize pH, which we know acid is the problem, and then they help to promote remineralization, putting mineral back in the tooth.
How do you gentle parent the shit out of this situation?
Hey, I need to talk to you about the mess you left in the kitchen last night. You're supposed to take driver's ed next year and get your permit. I have to pay for driver's ed. It's not something that's just included with school. And I need to drive with you. You need like a certain amount of hours driving with a parent. I'm not going to do either of those things if you keep being irresponsible like this. I forget things all the time, but we have to build systems, build habits to make us remember things. Every time your mom asks me to take the trash out with me in the morning on my way to work, what do? You put it in front of the front door. Yeah, because I've learned from experience that there is no chance that I'll remember to do that in the morning. I have to get up right when she asks me. I gotta go get it out of the trash can, put it somewhere. I'm gonna literally trip over it on my way out the door and replace the bag in the trash can. I have to do the whole thing right now or I won't do it. And it's just because I'll forget. It's not because I don't love her or I'm not listening or I don't care, but that's how it feels to her. If she asks me to do something and I say, yep, I'll do that, and then I don't, it really, really hurts her feelings, and it should. So I have to create systems for myself to make sure that I remember. It's part of being a responsible adult. While you're figuring out those systems, what can I do to help? Maybe next time before I go to bed, I'll say, hey, remember to clean up after yourself. Put a reminder in your phone for 10 p.m. And over time, I expect you to be able to think of that yourself. Hey, I should set a reminder for myself, or else I'm never gonna remember to do this. We've got 1.5 years before you get your permit. I've got to see some responsibility. I've got to see you building these systems for yourself. And I'll help you as much as I can.
If I'm using something, I don't have to stop using that thing and let somebody else use it before I'm done. That's not a life skill, that's people pleasing. Your toddler can't do it, shouldn't do it. They can practice boundaries. They can say, I'm still using it. They can practice noticing when they're done. Hey buddy, when you're done, will you let me know? Somebody else wants that. So when you're all done, bring it to me. That's thoughtfulness. They can practice waiting when someone's using something they want. Ugh, I can tell that you really want that thing. They're still using it, so we're gonna have to do something else until they're done. But the idea that anyone should stop using something they're using and give it to someone else just because they want it, what are we doing?
Free, cheap, small outings you can do with your kids today, and it's universal no matter where you live. You can probably find these things. Hey, I'm Chandler, a stay-at-home mom who's never at home. I have 3 boys under 4. I leave the house every day with them. I've been doing that since my first was a couple months old. You're staring down the barrel of the week. What am I going to do to fill my time? I don't want to spend a lot of money. Zoo days and big museum days are wonderful, but can be a little bit overstimulating. So what are those things that we can do to fill our time that doesn't empty your tank? A few ideas that we've done that my boys have actually enjoyed and I have enjoyed. That's the important piece. 1, go to a pet store. Don't have to buy anything, go walk around, look at the fish and the other small rodents. 2, go to a garden center, go to Lowe's or Home Depot, go walk around, talk about colors, I spy, you have a good drink in your hand, just stroll with nothing to do and talk and teach. 3, go to a park, but don't go to the playground if that stresses you out. Go to an area that no one else is sitting in. Maybe it's shaded, blanket, go bring a snack or 2 and just pick grass, make grass piles, something small like that.
Let me go in there. Huh? Let me make sure nobody in here. Hello? See, there go man. There goes. There's the man. See what I'm saying? There's the man. You know this is the women's bathroom, right? Sorry. That's the women's bathroom.
A lot of people gonna watch this video and give dude the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, he's just some random dude using the women's restroom. So why didn't he use the men's restroom? We don't hear a bunch of people outside. It doesn't seem like it's a big event going on, so we can assume that the men's restroom wasn't packed. Okay, so maybe the women's restroom was closer, or maybe the men's restroom was out of order. Okay, let's roll with that. But judging by the dad's voice, he was saying it like, yo, why you in here and not over there?
A man in the women's bathroom. That's why you gotta go in here with your kids. Let me make sure nobody else ain't in here. Let me make sure.
That's still not enough to say this dude was up to no good. The giveaway is the water. 15 seconds had passed from when they opened that door to when that weirdo went to go and dry his hands. So if he was actually washing his hands, we would have heard some water. And I might be wrong, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And I can only assume that that motherfucker was posted up in there, waiting for a female to come up in there, and he got caught. So yes, fathers, if you with your daughters and your sons, always check the bathrooms. And ladies, even if you with your man or your homies or your friends, make sure they check the bathrooms for you, because that was a big-ass dude. He could have took down a grown-ass woman. When the dad is asking, do you want me to go up in there? And she's like, no. She don't know the danger she's in. That's why you can't listen to the kids. Be a fucking parent.
Well, you gotta go in there with your kids. Make sure ain't no man in the damn bathroom.
Your park or your playground could be in the safest neighborhood, but that don't change the mindset of pervs and weirdos. And the last thing you want to be is another story on TikTok. Shit, man, I'd have put that motherfucker on his back. Got me upset, man. Y'all be safe out there.